Okay. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we'll adopt the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? Administration have any? Board members? None? Okay, Jarrett? Justin?
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Just Jay. Jay, yes. All those in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes from the April 16th board minutes. Ready? Oh, Larry?
I'll move them.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Our delegations are coming in at 11:30 and 11:45, so we'll move right into 5.1, the ASB administration report, page 9 of your package. And Farah?
Yeah, so we've been doing quite a bit of work getting these new spray trucks up and rolling. We're picking it up, the spray truck, from getting some maintenance done in Red Deer as we speak. The county is also participating in provincial monitoring that we haven't done in quite a few years. So the diamondback moth monitoring we just wrapped that up on Monday this week. Then we're going to start a new cycle of Bertha armyworm monitoring later on this month. Weed inspections are rolling. We've got small area gravel pit and spraying going on. We've done some maintenance to the tank loaders, continued equipment repairs. We've got our ASB grant finalized and signed, and it's just off in the hands of the province. Later on in the admin report, I've got some pictures of a weed control site that we got under control to the point that we had it on the docket to do some research potentially with biocontrol and satellite monitoring. But our control last year was too good and we don't have enough weeds to do the research. So that's good. And then we were assisting with the small area mowing program. All of our seasonal staffs, we got 3 this year, are rolling, and we did a lot of that training in-house. So some of the things that we previously farmed out, now we're able to do in-house. So like the authorized assistant program, we had one external participant outside of the county take that course under me, and then we had staff from Public Works and utilities come in to potentially do some of their own weed control on some of the smaller sites. We worked to put some of those plastic chemical jug recycling sites to bed and take away some of that fencing so it's less enticing for people to continue to deposit there. Now that we've switched to the retailer program, we've done some grass seeding. We're looking into some tree damage complaints, and then working on some of our extension with the county fair and the Buy More at 100 Trees. We participated in the ADM town hall, assisting with the parade, and we had a chair meeting. We've got some tree control recommendations, and then with the rental equipment, we're working on kind of making it a self-sustaining program. Typically with some of them, we get quite a few calls on how to work them. So we're working on making how-to manuals that are just attached to that equipment. And then when it goes out, you've got your kind of to-do list. And then if something goes wrong, you can reach out, but it kind of eliminates some of that confusion. So then we've got some pictures of the training that we do. Some seeding was done at that erosion site from the fall. Figure 4 is the Bertha armyworm traps that we wrapped up.
They got sticky interiors. Is that what catches them? Or?
Yeah, they've got a pheromone bait in them, so it just looks like a little pencil eraser at the top of that triangle, and then in the bottom there's a sticky sheet that catches them. We had 0 diamondback moths, so that's good.
That's the same as the Bertha armyworm?
Separate pests.
Did you catch any of the birth of armyworm, like the?
We're putting those traps out in a couple weeks.
Too early.
So they're like the Green Lantern looking traps that you'd have.
Dave?
Too early for but I'd like to know if there's a high area that they're in, because they won't spray for it. So if you, in the county of Stettler, if there's an area that's high, you can let me know. Another thing is, you went through your report. Are we gonna get about the same money as we got last year?
Yeah, we get the
More.
same for our legislative, basically, and then we get a tiny smidge more for some of that resource management stream.
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
Just on the tree complaints, I noticed there was a couple in different areas, and what have you been finding with that? There has been some I saw through that repair concern line that were some drought conditions, and then some were some pest conditions, right?
So later on in the correspondence, I attached the two of the fact sheets I sent out to those producers. But we've got some, so last year we had a site, and then we had another person complain this year about cytospora canker and rhizosphoria needle cast. So those are both fact sheets that are in the correspondence. They're basically like when the needles are falling off of some of those coniferous trees, and it kind of starts on the inside near the trunk and then radiates out. So your furthest needles out would stay on, and then the inside ones fall out. So it's just your tree's kind of balding. And then because it has no
Looking at me.
your question.
I just figured out what you got. You got.
It is a wooden head.
And then the other one that we have one side of is spruce beetle. So that's holes bored into the stem of the tree. So there's some pictures later on in the correspondence report for both of them.
So my question kind of to this, is this something that we should be notifying neighbors of the potential of? So my question to you, and I sent that email of what area it was in, because just so that if we have an infestation, then the neighbors should be aware, and kind of if there's any preventative measures or something you can do, whatever it is. Are we seeing in a certain area, or?
It's like most of these are compounded by stressed trees. So that's really your only preventative measure, is to keep your trees as happy, as healthy as they can be. So beyond that, there's not, like for the spruce beetles, you can do some pheromone baiting, but that would be beyond what a private land person would probably be able to access. You'd have to get an arborist to come in and do that.
Well, and it's the woodpeckers that seem to do the most damage, not necessarily the beetle itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the galleries on the screen here now are from a sapsucker. So those holes in the trunk. And then there's your balding spruce.
Mr. Chair, I have one other question.
Okay, go ahead.
Just the other question I had was, for summer staff, how did you work out? Did you get everybody you needed, or are we still a little light?
No, absolutely. We filled all positions that we had available for summer staff.
Okay,
Seasonal.
okay.
And, the team we got put together this year are eager and work well together. Farrah's been doing a great job keeping everyone moving. And as well, Mr. Albuser has been utilizing some seasonal staff as well, keeping them moving in other areas. We've had a really good crossover between parks mowing and trimming and working on their weed inspection and work with Farrah. So it's been doing pretty good.
Good, because I think last year we were a little tight for summer staff, and the year before even. 2 years that you kind of go, doesn't look good, but I'm glad we got that. Excellent.
Dave?
The spruce beetles, we can't really put the name of the person where it owns the land, where they're at. You can put the legal land description. Yes. And I would notify the neighbors that maybe butt up against that. Say they maybe can do a little preventive stuff to keep them out of there. They're quite a thing if they get into your spruce.
Larry?
Yes, I've got a couple questions. One was the tank loader facility that had the propane tank that somebody's painted a happy face on. I didn't think we had propane tanks with them anymore. I thought we'd taken all the propane tanks and everything out.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I'll speak to that. So I did some background work and we do not utilize those propane tanks anymore at those locations. I've been working to find out if there is an active contract for those tanks. I've got a contact number and the last time they were filled. So we're going to do a little further run on those and see what happens and if we can get those changed out and removed from locations.
I do recall this same question came up here a year or two ago, and Quentin's answer on that was that the county's not paying for having them there or anything. It's just they're still left there, but.
Right. And my approach to it is it's just causing issues and concerns. So
I know, yeah.
we don't need them.
We don't need them there.
The only other thing I need to do is confirm that they're all empty.
Were you finished, Larry?
No, I had a second question.
Okay, go ahead.
Second question was at the transfer sites when we quit taking pesticide or herbicide containers. Did we also quit taking bulk feed bags? Because there's been a bit of an issue at Gadsby transfer site that a couple of people have phoned me that they'd always taken their tote bags there and they're not being accepted now because of the fact that somebody's saying it falls into the same category as the herbicide containers. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the bulk feed bags do fall underneath the same program, I believe. However, we don't receive them anymore. Like, we aren't taking them anymore.
The bulk feed bags?
Right.
That's okay.
Like the plastic burlap or not burlap.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, the ones.
Old plastic totes.
Or whatever.
Right. So yeah, so no, we're not accepting those underneath that program.
At any transfer site, they won't accept them at all? Because that wasn't really put, it was more of the spray containers, et cetera, that was put out. And
Yeah, in the past, we haven't really had too much hands-on involvement with the tote recycling. But in the past, we went to every transfer site and collected all of the chemical jugs and brought them to the landfill or the Stettler transfer site for shredding.
because that pig barn that's just directly east of Gadsby hauls a lot of, like, they bring a lot of their additives, like, for whatever they mix their feed into their feed, and they were going into the bins through the winter and through last year. But I know I was phoned on it that what's going on, where do we take them and what do we do with them? So I didn't know that they were restricted now either. That's just the question I said I'd find out.
They'd be part of the retailer collection, so.
So whoever they're getting it
Yeah.
from.
Good luck with that one.
Okay.
Well, and I think, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think some of the concern is, and it all stems from back, if we all remember, any of the biosecurity issues or concerns for cross-contamination in your feeds. So that's why you couldn't take those totes back and get them refilled at any feed store.
Yeah, you couldn't even get them refilled, let alone take them back, so.
No, so I think that's the concern with it now is it's that they're not reusable in any state or form, and any of your retailers don't want them back because they don't want the possibility of any cross-contamination between one feed source and another. So I think what staff can do is we can do a bit more background on it and find out the exact location or who will take those and a source for it. The issue or concern is that as well, Mr. Nyberg, you probably know, as soon as you start recycling, it comes at a cost. So we can bring that information back to the Ag Service Board.
But they are they do degrade, so that's my only other thought is maybe, could they be landfill? Yeah, no, but seriously,
Yeah.
they should be able to be landfilled, yeah.
They do eventually rot away, you know,
But they
they'll,
won't accept them into the bins.
I'm not sure if that's more of a UV issue or if that's specific to how they'll just degrade.
So if we can check if they can be hauled to the bins, that was, they're not being allowed, period, so.
And you think things will be okay. Dave, go ahead.
Solid tarps, where are they supposed to take them, back to Red Deer where they bought them from, or?
I think we should still line them up, don't we? Yeah.
You'll wind them up even if they got a little stuff on them? Yep. You didn't before. I just want to know.
I never wound them up.
They're supposed to make their best attempt at cleaning them. If there's too much debris on them, they're not fit for recycling.
Well, I don't know. I'm just getting sick of them blowing around and going in my field.
Like when they dry off, lots of it breaks off when we roll it in the roller. So sometimes when it's just like muddy, we'll just delay a little bit so that it's not a bale of plastic and mud.
Will they take them?
There's like a range, yeah. Like we roll them, but if they're too dirty, then you have to clean them for us to be able to roll them.
So if you did roll it, some that were extremely dirty, then they could be landfilled easier. And then the clean ones can go off to recycle.
Because we've had it before where they get down there and they reject them too.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering how that was going. That's what I asked.
We don't do that anymore, Mr. Grover. They come to
They come.
roll them and bring them to the shop and they pick up.
Clean whatever it is comes and gets them. I realize that, but
And at that point, whether they take them to the plant and reject them,
the dump, it doesn't matter. But if they see that they're, some are clean, some are dirty, they just take the clean ones in?
I think what the issue or the concern is that when they're rolled, you're not going to be able to see a lot of what's happening on the inside of them, is the thing. So if staff is at the location assisting and they roll them up, if they're going to be too dirty, we're going to have to tell the producer that we're not able to roll them and take them with it being as dirty as they are, because we're not really succeeding in any program at that point in time then, because if we're knowingly going to take them when they're too dirty to be recycled, then they're just going to get rejected.
So the question is, how small a bunch of tarp will you guys go and roll?
So as in for like a grain bag, or what size will we go do?
I'm silage tarps, the grain bags, I know how they work.
So I would prefer the silage tarps. I mean, we can continuously roll, like, I mean, if it's chunks, but I prefer that they had, you know, a full silage tarp that's gonna make it worth our while to head down there and do.
But if we.
You want like a
if they
length?
save them and put them in a pile, put something on them so they don't blow away, then we'll come and roll.
At the end of the year, when it's all
Okay.
stacked, as long as they're free and not iced down or anything like that. We've had producers that have,
They should, by August, they should be good.
well, if there's producers that are feeding them through the winter time and they're stacking them, lots of times they're spring thaw. They've collected water on the inside of those tarps and now they're full of ice as well. So I mean, we've had producers
As
call
long as they're dry.
and they want us to come get them while they're all frozen. Well, we have to wait until they're,
These ones won't be frozen, they might have some crap in them though. Okay, thank you.
Was that it for your admin report?
Yeah, in figure 6, we have some of that weed site. So it's quite a stark difference in the control that we had. So the before, all of that yellow is leafy spurge, and then after is very minimal infestation. This is one of the products we use in our roadside program as well, so Navius Flex. Over the program or over the season, we get some complaints that our spray isn't working. It's relatively like slow acting product in the terms of visual like plant results. So over the season, it's just eating away at the roots of the plant. So you don't see a bunch of above ground symptoms with this control, but you get very effective results.
And I was just one thing on the chemical jug recycling, IC Bime or transfer stations all cleaned up, looks good. But I was just wondering if we should have some signage saying that these chemical containers now have to be returned to the retailer with that? Or are they aware enough already? But I was just,
When we took the signs were already up at the transfer sites. So when we took the fencing down, we left some of those signs still there.
the signs are still there? Okay, good. That's good. Okay,
Les, if I could just on that though, I wonder if the signs shouldn't be moved to the front gates versus they were back at the
The site, yeah.
transfers that like where you dumped them off before. And I think it would maybe, if we find out on feed bags and stuff, if we could put it right on the front gate that these are not accepted or they're accepted as landfillable.
You have a high estimate that people read signs going into.
I do read signs sometimes.
Other people.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm not joking when I still get questions about what time is the transfer site open, and I go, well, let me drive by. No, because I got
Take a
her.
picture of the sign.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's what I'll do is just take that picture and send it on. The big sign right out by the gate.
Okay, any further questions for Farrah's report? Not, I'll ask for a mover for the report. Larry? All those in favor? And carried. Now, the extension report on page 20 of the package.
So we're still doing continued effort on the county fair. So we've got ongoing planning meetings. And we've attended meetings on the 22nd of April and May 13th. We've also got our speaker schedule finalized coming up in the new business. There's more information on the happenings of the county fair. Then we have the tree program, so tied to our shelter belt program. We have celebrated Bymore's centennial with 100 trees for 100 years. So Councillor Stuhlberg went out and distributed 100 trees for the students in Bymore. He can speak to that more, if he pleases.
Yeah, no, it was quite well received. Each the students got 2 trees, and we planted one at the school. I planted it, I dug the hole, but I think the boys were more intrigued with the earthworms than they were the trees, but the girls were not so much. But no, it was good. They were happy with them. They were quite surprised at the size of the trees, because I remember through most school programs, you get a tree about the size of a popsicle stick, and these ones were a good foot or more tall, so they were very happy with them. And I remember my son brought, I don't know how old he was, probably grade 4 or 5 or something, brought this little popsicle tree home, and now it must be like 40 feet tall. So some of them do actually produce really nice trees.
And after that, we have the ADM town hall. So Councillor Stuhlberg has a written report on that coming up. And then we also hosted the Central Zone ASB chair and fieldman meeting on Friday last week. We had 14 out of the 14 municipalities within the central region attend. And there was lots of good discussion there. So we've got a verbal report on that coming up as well.
Any questions for the extension report? Mr. Nyberg,
I will give you a motion to receive for information.
ready? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Moving on into reports, 6.1, the ASB Town Hall with ADM Conrad report on page 22. These are always good meetings. I find John Conrad is, he shares a lot of information. He's pretty candid in what he shares. It's the list of the topics are included there. Grant funding, I guess, as you can see, our funding amounts to probably $166,000 annually for the regular program and approximately $18,000 for the additional resource management we do. The weed review is, it's about ready to be sent back to the minister and the weed committee, the review committee, and then everybody will get a chance to see what their recommendations are. And on weeds on well sites, I mean, this is a slow process, but the government's looking at modifying the MGA so that companies can be billed directly for their lack of weed control. Justin?
I have a question about that. The most likely well sites that would be issues would be ones that are not viable or on the fringe. Are we just compounding the unpaid taxes by billing them for work that they also won't pay for?
I don't know, I was hoping it would be a thing, but
I would wonder if they're under the orphan well program, shouldn't we send the bill to the Alberta government? I'm okay with that, actually. I'm 100% okay with, it seems to me that it sure seems like it's a crown weed.
Larry?
we've really been discussing this at the mature asset. So it is a topic on the table with the ag minister and with the ministers. So I don't know what the right answer is right now, but I hope we get closer to a right answer. But it has been one of the top topics is weed control on these orphan wells and the non-paid well sites.
Right. And that is the next bullet too, that it, just as Larry has said, it's being discussed in asset review, and the ag has been invited to be a part of this discussion. James.
The other question I have for whoever is, so it's actually against the rules for the farmer to go onto that well site, even though they own the land and they lease it back to the well site or to the company. They can't go on there and spray those weeds or just accidentally maliciously have their boom over the top of the well site when they drive over.
They've been doing that for years.
That has actually been brought up, and I don't think enforcement would be very effective in that matter, other than they don't want to pay the producer for spraying.
Yeah.
That's more the issue than the actual spraying. So
Yeah, no, and that's my,
liability, but then it's said if it's on your property, you do kind of know how tall things are and where things are at. And
yeah, no, I know that's the issue. It becomes a cost to the producer, but sometimes you look at that well site and you go, it's cheaper for me to spray it than it is to fight the whole situation.
Deal with them wants to go to seed.
Yeah.
I think that's the case where they turn a blind eye maybe.
Many producers out there have a very strong weed ethics and want to get rid of everything, and I applaud them for it. So when they see that, it drives them even worse.
Might be a little drift that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on wild boar control, the province has really taken a serious look at this. So far, there's been 539 wild boars eradicated. There are currently 14 wild boar farms in the province, and the province is reviewing this and considering banning wild boar farming in Alberta. It's a bold step, but Mr. Conrad was quite optimistic this is going to happen. I guess we'll wait and see. Wild boar tours are planned for ASB staff, and in my next meeting we had in Bath, Kelly Jackson said that if ASB staff doesn't fully fill these, then there'll be openings for others. And Farah, you're going to?
Yeah, next week.
Okay.
Where is that at?
Whitecourt.
Okay.
So where some of their active trapping zones are.
Okay.
So we're going to the actual boots on the ground traps, looking for signs, learning kind of how the whole process works. Put your hands on some of it.
So you're not touring a farm, you're touring the trapping sites.
Yeah, the ones of the at-large issues.
Justin?
These trapping sites, how far are they from the nearest wild boar farm?
You'll know when you get back.
Exactly. They're kind of like, they're not really public information of where the trapping sites are, just so that you're not poking around and messing up the site. So they are kind of tied to municipalities that have had issues in the past.
Are you looking to get some meat?
No, I am not.
Ernie?
The 539, is that for the year?
I think that's the total.
Yeah.
Program since they started trapping.
It's not very many.
Is
because
it okay with 539 when they can have 2 to 3 litters a year? Kind of a drop in the bucket.
And I think that's why it's so hard to get them once they're smart. Once they get out in the wild, it's really hard to get them. And anybody that's seen the presentation from, I think it was Texas at the ASB provincial conference, wow, like they have a huge wild boar problem in the United States and several of those southern states. And the damage they do is incredible. So I think Alberta does not want to follow that same path. I think that's why they're taking this so seriously. And then the vet shortage is discussing it. Basically, it's a global problem, this vet shortage, and the province has committed $3.9 million in a 3-year program for the UCVM. And then currently this program at Calgary Veterinary Medicine has 55 students, but this fall that number will increase to 100. And another thing Alberta is considering is getting their own labs, because currently all testing has to be sent out of the province. And there's a pilot project for $250,000 for 2 years to make vet practice more attractive. So it's retention, recruitment, and remote consultation. Yep. Larry wants to add something. Okay, go ahead.
Actually, when it comes to the testing, there is a doctor that's applying here whose wife specializes in veterinary sciences.
Oh, really?
Not a vet, but then on the other side of it, that's an interesting conversation. But the part that does disappoint me, we lobbied about the 50 vets, and there's still not a tie to, I don't believe, large animal in there. It's vets, and you know, vets as a whole, and I think maybe our pet vets were maybe suffering a little bit too, but our large animal vets is where we're, as ASB, are really suffering.
I think Kelly addressed that slightly too, but in that program, they can change through the program too. Once they're moving through the years of veterinary education.
Yeah. After you're accepted to vet school, you don't decide your, if you're a large or small animal vet till your second year within the program. So even if you think you're a large animal person throughout that first year of school, some people switch.
James?
So, and just to comment, I think Ferry, you'd reached out to the Housing Authority so we have a number of housing options at Heart Haven where there's some rooms available for healthcare professionals. We've extended that also to some of the vets that are traveling through. I think Farah reached out to see how that's working and if it's possible. So it's definitely a great opportunity for anybody that's traveling through the area, that they can have a place to stay. I know Mr. Stevens had brought that up in the past, and we're ready to rock and roll. We just need somebody to stay now.
And I think we're going to discuss that further later in the agenda as well.
You're gonna discuss the Heart Haven, like the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Then renewable energy on ag land.
I want to go on the vet thing.
Okay, go ahead. Well, okay.
I don't think it's very fair, like charge them to stay at Heart Haven, that's fine, and have a place for them. But I'm not in for putting money into a traveling vet when the other ones that are set up here have to pay a staff, you have to pay, and he's running out of a van. I don't think it's a fair playing field. I just don't think that's right. But if he's going to just pay for a room and you got a room for him and stuff like that, that's fine. He can do what he likes, but I just don't want to put any of the county's money into housing him or getting him started. Thank you.
I don't believe that was everything.
Well, it depends how you read it, how you think about it. That's, if you think of it, it could be that.
On that vet front, we've got 2 new vets that came into our clinic in Erskine. So they're both recent graduates from vet school. So one comes from Saskatoon and one comes from Calgary for the vet school. So that's also exciting for us to have 2 new service providers in our area.
The local vet is a North of Gadsby girl, so we're quite proud. It's a Brow.
Oh, good. This is right on.
Yeah, and she was out doing some work for me the other day, did a very good job. So.
It's encouraging because typically when they're raised in a small community, especially their own community, they tend to stay.
And she worked for you, and she even knew you, Larry. I'm surprised.
Okay, the renewable energy thing, as you know, those projects are not allowed on class 1 and 2 soil unless they can demonstrate they can coexist with agriculture, and the definition of coexistence is expected to be 80%. And municipalities with no class or 1 or 2 soils, if they can demonstrate that they can exist, they have to demonstrate they have to exist on class 3 soil. And then emergency season, I guess this meeting was a while ago, but the province was definitely watching the wildfire situation. And at that time, they felt it was a little bit early. The drought situation was a little bit too early to monitor. And they were feeling typically June is the wettest month. So they certainly hope that a major drought could be averted.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
has anybody heard about what's going on down in southern Alberta with the rivers down there in the watershed? 'Cause what city was hauling water into last year?
Yeah.
One of the small towns.
Yeah, I know that
It was
it was like the year before. I
that
believe.
was way down.
That was Clarifon, wasn't
Yeah, I can't.
Last year though, the runoff really helped southern Alberta.
Okay.
And then this year too, in one of the reports on the snowpack, the south half of the mountain snowpack was much better than the north half. It's actually,
It was late melting.
yeah, the north half is, I mean, Abraham Lake,
It's way down.
there's sandbars in the middle of the lake.
it? You can see.
I was out there a couple weeks ago and that's the lowest I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And I believe Dixon Dam was less than 50% of normal. So,
Century Creek was the town that was hauling.
all the water, yeah. I think they've fared better than the northern half actually, but I'm not
What's
quite.
the reserve down there? It's called the, Ernie knows it. I know he's thinking.
I know Brockets, but it was.
Well, no, but the one that you're talking,
They get their water out of
they showed the pictures.
yeah, remember we'd seen that? Yeah.
Is that the old man?
No, it's a contributory, but I can't remember which one. I don't know. They got a reserve there, that reservoir that
Oh,
they,
reservoir, yeah.
I remember the name of it. I just can't remember. They just remember they said it was so far down that it was,
St. Mary's, was it?
maybe, yes, that's
St. Mary's, yeah.
yeah, that's it. Good thinking.
Yeah, no, water's pretty crucial. Dave?
Go back to the classifications. 3 soil in County Stettler produces pretty good. I think, I think it should be with 1 and 2. And the water shortage, the south, I sat on the Red River thing for quite a few years before that was on there. And I think that they should shut irrigation down or take them down 25%, 50%. Would save a lot of the water for human consumption. And they're not doing it. And they're not taking, when a allotment comes up and the fellow passes away or whatever, they don't take it away from them. They just let it back out again.
There's a lot of
I
ground.
think it's been very poorly by the South Saskatchewan River guys, has been very poorly organized, very poorly handled. Is the biggest problem they have, why they got sandbars in their reserves. Thank you.
I know, when push comes to shove. Oh, go ahead, Tara. Well, I was just gonna say, when push comes to shove, I mean, human consumption does have top priority. But I mean, a lot of those other contracts are grandfathered in and they're using in the meantime. Tara?
And then with this discussion in the correspondence at 10:15 or 10.15, we have the Water Act is open for survey. So they're looking for feedback on how people think it would be best, just like your concerns of when someone's license expires with them, what the next steps would be, or different uses for some of those non-potable water sources, potentially for irrigation. So that survey closes on June 30th. So that's in correspondence.
I think I had Ernie, then Justin, and then James. Ernie?
I'm just kind of wondering whether Craig, I believe he's been at the LPRD, correct me if I'm wrong, Yvette, that he's kind of been able to kick some butts, so that whether he's going to be able to have an update, say like on this classification of soils or whatever we're up against with these solar farms.
I think it's in our MPC package if it's on there, sir.
Oh, you're talking about the hearing, the
Yeah.
ABC hearing?
There'll be an update, I think.
Yeah, there should be an update, but I will say that Craig did an excellent job representing the county.
Justin?
One of the laws outside of the actual allotment is the definition provincially on what is river water and what is groundwater. I've seen industry that has drilled wells within meters of the bank of a river into straight cobble. And all of a sudden this is classified as groundwater, even though every logical person that looks at this can see that 10 seconds ago it was river water. Now it's considered groundwater and does not count against the allotment. And that seems like a huge flaw.
That's good.
Note for what the Water Act's open anyway. Yeah.
So, sure, I had an opportunity on Tuesday evening to actually sit with Grant Hunter, MLA from that Warner area. He's on the Water for Life program. He's the assistant minister on that one. I think they've kindly come to the conclusion that there's some issues that they need to deal with, and in a conversation with him, it was his words were to me, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. We've got to straighten a few things up. So hopefully, I don't know what that exactly means, but I mean, that's something that will be yet to be seen, what he means by straighten things up. So. And no, I bet I didn't ask him for a grant. I'm sorry. I should have. I'll know better next time.
Never miss an opportunity. Eh?
Exactly.
I just didn't know which grant you wanted me to fill. We've got a few out there.
Okay, well, that's pretty much it for the spring ADM town hall meeting. If there's any other questions, like, not,
I'll give you a motion to receive for information too.
all those in favor? And carried. 6.2, the Central ASB Chair and Fieldman meeting, June 13th. That's a verbal report. It was held in Botha. That's Stettler County hosted. And like Farrah said, 14 out of the 14 Central Zone municipalities attended. We got favorable comments from hosting it within the county and in one of the smaller centers in the county. So that was good. Attending from the county were Farrah, Michelle, and myself. Michelle recorded minutes. Jarrett was there for setup and takedown of the sound system, and the wireless mics worked perfect. There's no feedback, and they worked really well, especially for the roundtable discussion. Brenda Knight gave a report on the provincial committee, and for anybody that attended the provincial conference, this will be interesting. There will be changes to future conferences regarding code of conduct, rules of procedure, parliamentarian, perhaps a neutral chair. So those things did not go resolved, unnoticed, I guess. Yeah, they will be resolved. So, and they're adding a piece for orientation of new board members at the fall conference, or the winter conference, I guess. And consideration is being given to have a chairs meeting with MLAs and experts ahead of the conference. Over 70% of ASB boards have members at large sitting on them, and I think this is something that our county should still look towards for future years. The provincial committee is very pleased with their meetings with RJ Sigurdsson, the Ag Minister. Meetings have been stellar, in Brenda's words, and they never feel rushed with RJ, and he gives them more than the allotted time each time. Linda Hunt has signed a 3-year contract to continue her position. The provincial website contains a lot of information, so if anybody is curious, check that one out. Brenda Knight is running for council again, but if elected, she will not run for the provincial committee. Kelly Jackson gave the provincial ASB program update and clarified a question from the town hall meeting on battery storage sites. They do not apply in the AUC Aluvert program. So that was a question that got up. She found the answer afterwards. ASB grants have 92% of the applications have been processed, and 25% of those have already had payments processed. And the ASB grant applications were changed to better align with provincial legislation. The applications did come with some concerns, and they're looking for input to iron out the kinks. Reporting period was changed from March, April, opposed to the former May, June, which is such a busy time. Field visits have begun to the ASBs, and the field visit reports are also changed to align with legislation. In the animal health, one case of HPA1 bird flu has been reported in a small commercial block, and HPA1 has the ability to jump species, which is the concern there. And insect pest surveillance, ArcGIS, has been introduced as a tool to track grasshoppers. Emergency season, so far wildfires have been the biggest concern, and there are online resources like Fire Smart Alberta, Farm Fire Smart Home, Farm Animal and Livestock Preparedness, and Emergency Preparedness, which provide useful information. Future engagements, the province is working hard to keep the registration at 1080 in Alberta, and this is the coyote control one, I believe. They don't want that taken away like strychnine was. The resolution grading session, there were 9 resolutions graded. None were controversial. They didn't bring up too much discussion, and many of the resolutions, or all resolutions, were responded to by the government, which is good. Some years they don't get to them all. Many resolutions, or many were resolved, and others will require some follow-up. And like I said, there wasn't a lot of discussion on the grading. But the roundtable discussion with all ASBs present was I felt was the best part. Clearwater County, they're having tree pest issues, lots of tent caterpillars and spruce bud worms. Wetaskiwin County also has a severe infestation of tent caterpillars. It's the worst it's been since the 1990s. There's hardly a deciduous tree left with leaves on it. Mountain View also has caterpillars. And Mountain View is getting mixed reviews on their gopher poisons available now. Rocky View County, Camrose, Red Deer, Painter, Stettler counties all reporting drought concerns. Red Deer County has had reseeding done due to poor germination. Starland and Painter have contracts with MCON for highway spraying. Painter reports weed concerns with wormwood and baby's breath. Lacombe County hosted a farm safety day for 325 grade 5 students at their county yard, and RJ was even there. And their ASB staff does school visits with their classroom ag program. The next meeting will be hosted by the MD of Bighorn in either Exshaw or Canmore. So all in all, it was a very good day, I thought. The only glitch was our caterer forgot us. So that had our staff scrambling at the last minute. Other than that, that was it.
I got a quick question.
Sure.
So did we report on our gopher control? What are we have mixed reviews? What's everybody?
Fair. Have we had any results come back in on those? Or?
So I did an experiment this year, and we sell 3 different kinds of products. Rosal is by far our most popular. I tested out our other 2 products, so Ground Force and Ramic Green. In one of the baits, in Ramic Green was in 2 bait station sites, and then the Ground Force was just in 1. And there was not much appetite for those other 2 products. And then the Rosal, everyone just wishes they had strychnine back. And then in general, there's quite a bit of mixed feedback on the phosphorus baits that we don't have. Those are the single feed ones and would be most similar to something like a strychnine, but people again have mixed results. The timing seems to be super key with these multi-feed site or baits. So you got to get out there right early between like that snow melt and then when the grass greens up.
Well, an interesting one. I think our urban neighbors aren't really necessarily as keen on. They don't care. It's not an issue to them. I was just recently at the Mirror School, and they have a major infestation of gophers. I'm talking kids are now starting to play with gophers on a regular basis and massive holes. So I think as the gophers don't get controlled and start moving into the city, I think we will see a little bit more of a push from somebody else wanting to deal with those critters other than just us farmers.
Some stakeholder pressure from other avenues maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the South Region fieldmen are compiling, they've got a call out for, it closed already, but they had a call out for farmers to send in testimonies of their previous control efforts, economic losses, and ongoing concerns. So that was spearheaded by Cardston County, and they were accepting letters till June 13th. I didn't see it till the 15th, I think. So there is still ongoing efforts. I can reach out to Cardston and see if that's something that we want to add on to. So they're going to compile that and then make a case with
Yeah.
the province and the federal government.
Good to have that info.
And it's a federal control issue. There is no way that the province could take this over and take a situation of even the notwithstanding clause or something, because it is a serious event. Like losing that meant a huge difference to our producers.
It's totally federal.
Ottawa and that don't have many gophers stuff, so it's not gonna make any difference to them. The coyote, oh my gosh, you can't kill a coyote. Once they started, going to the city and eating Fido, and, then it's a problem. Boy, we gotta do something with the coyote.
I know, talking with Damian Couric, when he had a meeting in our county a while ago on the strychnine and different things like that. And even the banning of flying of horses and stuff, all like that. He said the biggest angle that the conservatives are working on is you need people with ag knowledge and ag backgrounds making the decisions in these things. That is the best start. So that's what they're working on. They need ag expertise in the decision making before these recommendations come before government.
And when we get updates from the ASB provincial committee, the minister does have quite an appetite for pushing for this as well.
Dave, did you have another question?
Yeah, well, I don't think Carney and them are farmers, and I don't think this is gonna work. I don't know, until you get, a change in government, we're not, the gophers are gonna run rampant. But what I thought we could do is I could trap them, live trap them, and give them to every kid that's in Red Deer, you know, and they can take them home for pets. And they ain't bound to get out, a bunch of them. That might work. No, it's just ridiculous. They're so far away from the farming industry, even in Red Deer, Alberta, that it isn't funny. And in Ottawa and Quebec, you know, we're not, we don't even have a nationality out here, you know that?
Yeah.
Well, back to the strychnine, the province pretty much knows everything that can be done on the strychnine file has been done. There's very little more that can be done. So.
But I used strychnine my whole life, and we never killed anything. I thought we killed one magpie and killed a test up, he shot the magpie. We never killed a magpie, never killed anything but what we're going after. Put it down the hole, and it worked.
So that was pretty much the ADM or the Central Zone meeting in Baja. If there's no further questions, I'd ask for a mover. Justin? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, moving on now to business arising from the minutes, 8.1, that professional bulletin list, page 24. I think this is being brought back, right, Farah?
Yeah, so that memo is just for reference from our last meeting, and then on the next page, we have some updates from Hard Haven. So their nightly rates are on the next page. We have some rates from them. For some of those later nights stays, there would be a little bit of coordination required. So it may or may not fit for some of the calving season calls that they might get late at night when the Hard Haven is at not really operational for administration purposes. But if they arrange it prior, they can have a key drop off and then go in after hours.
Yeah.
That would be key, I think, yeah.
When we were at the chair meeting, this is something that when it was brought to us, Lacombe County had already provided a list. Talking with Brenda from Lacombe, Lacombe sent out just a blanket invite for a sign-up list from just general members of the public. So that could be something that we do to address more of the issues in some of our remote areas. So some of the areas that would maybe be still seeking support would be Bymore, Endyang, Denalda, Red Willow, and Big Valley. So we could canvas for people there if we see that need.
I certainly don't think it would hurt to put that out in either on our website or County Connection or something that the ability is required. So, would we need a motion to do that, or can administration deal with it?
Just one other question. It lists what the is attached to the room, but is there Wi-Fi? There is Wi-Fi also.
There's, I can't remember if it was Shaw or one of the other ones. It wasn't TELUS that put it in. We've got it set up. I'll double check to make sure that those rooms have it, but I'm almost positive that
Yeah, just for the fact
it's a standard.
standard necessity now. Yeah.
And is this Parkhaven information being shared with the vets already?
Yeah, I just have it in the package here because at the last meeting we discussed about potentially just having counselors be our satellite billeting stations. So I wanted to see if there was appetite for that before I sent it off to.
Well, I'd be willing to in our area to be a billet. So. But it certainly wouldn't hurt, I think, to expand it.
You could put me on the list as well, Billy.
I guess if anybody else needs a little bit of time to think about it, be sure to get back to Farah as soon as possible, and then we can advertise further afield.
This is a pretty good option that we have here, though fairly recent.
And especially works really well like if they're within a fairly
Look at my
yeah. Like I don't think if Ernie needs to be a billet because he's so close to Stettler sort of thing like that. But once you get to the far corners of the county, it might be a little different story. Anyway, is there any further discussion on the bulletin?
No receipt for information.
Okay, thank you, James. All in favor? Carried. 9.1, new business, cancellation of ASB July meeting on page 26. Typically, we don't have July meetings, right?
Kind of just following our status quo of bi-monthly meetings in the operational season.
So we would need a motion on that one.
I'll move it.
Dave?
So would we have the August or just go back to September? Should we make that note that
We're having August.
Okay.
August, and once we get out of the busy season, we'll go back August, September.
So we're not going to have July, just not July.
There's not. That's the only,
Fair enough.
in the motion, right? So that, I assume you're making option one, Dave?
Take it out. That's
Okay, all those in favor? That one's carried. 9.2, the 2025 ASB resolution grading. Farah's got sheets at everyone's station here on the resolutions.
You're like a teacher.
Yeah.
So this is what the central region had rated all the resolutions.
So there was a response to them all. Most of them fully responded, some in part, and the ones that responded in part, there were follow-ups. I didn't think there was typically anything really too much to bring back to our board. It was pretty cut and dried. I think our board decided at the last meeting, if there was nothing out of the ordinary, that we would go with the central zone grading.
What was the roadkill one where it says responded in part? Various municipal tech contractors with different practices.
At
Who's
the,
the tech contractor?
oh, tech is transportation economic corridors.
Okay, fair enough. No, I got it. Yeah.
Elements section. But at the chair meeting, it came up that different counties, like the regional contractors, deal with things in a different way. So Bighorn had discussed that because they're so close to the parks, that they have their roadkill incinerated. Their contractor has an incinerator. But then other counties have said that like some of their contractors bring their roadkill to a dead end road that is lucky to be located near county lands, but still has concerns related to that.
Okay, I think basically we just need to receive this for information then, if someone, Paul?
I shall do so.
Okay, all those in favor? And that one is carried. Moving on to,
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, do you need a motion for the Stettler ASB board to support the central grading? Does it go anywhere or?
Just to give them the same grading.
Oh.
program, yeah. I'll give you that.
Okay.
We, that the Stettler Ag Service Board,
Concurs with the.
concurs and will grade, the same as the central.
okay, that's,
Yeah.
good.
Grading.
Thank you, James.
Does that make sense? You got that? You fix it up, make it look good. Thank you.
All those in favor of James' motion? Carried. Moving on to 9.3, county fair updates and scheduling, page 73.
Who's taking it?
I can take it. Again, we've got lots of fun stuff happening at the county fair. So, lots of it is similar to last year. Some of the new things are that we're doing an education station for Wednesday and Thursday. So those are educational booths. So, on the next page, we have that Wednesday is a more farmer-focused day, and then Thursday is kind of a more acreage producer type education day. There's also a beef show happening during the county fair, so that's kind of a happy accident that they kind of pooled that together. I think Nikki's discussed the chore team with you guys, correct? All excited about it.
We need more chores.
Is everybody excited? Who's excited? Who's excited?
Oh, I'm always excited to do chores.
I was really hoping that was a rhetorical question.
Isn't there judging for pies or?
Yeah, there's a bench show.
Yeah.
You want to be the judge?
I'm there, yeah.
Jared, can you move to the next page? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that the county part is, I mean, the ag service board part is these educational pieces.
So yeah, we'll also be doing like the customer appreciation barbecue and the pancake breakfast just like last year, but this education station is new. So we've got some good partners and good speakers coming on in. And then I'll be doing 2 of the presentations. So both of the 1 o'clock slots, I'll start off the days.
And so how are we gonna get this information out to people actually, if they're really wanting to catch these, they know about it, otherwise they may not be at the fair that day, sort of thing?
Yeah, this is already in the county connections.
Okay, good.
Goes out, and then we'll do social media blasts closer to, and then the Ag Society is doing some advertising kind of for the specific events, in addition to just general county fair advertising.
Okay, no, sounds good. I like how you divided the days separately for the main farming one and then the more acreage one.
And Yvette's bench fair also is up there, so she can judge a pie somewhere in there. And then we've got the list, draft list of all of the categories for the bench fair, so that people can start thinking of different categories that would suit them to enter. So got horticulture and baking and handicrafts and photography and all the fun stuff that comes along with bench shows.
We haven't had a bench show for a lot of years here in Stettler.
Yeah, last year it was separate from the fairs and there was kind of limited entries. We had it on the, what's it called, in August, that open farm days that we participated with the Egg Society. The bench fair was then, and entries were kind of low, so combining with the county fair, we hope to get quite a few more entries.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Well, anything further to the county fair? Yeah. This one, I would need a motion to receive for information. Arnie? All those in favor? Carried. 9.4 for information, the ag equipment tutorials.
Yeah, so as discussed in the administration report, we've made up some how-tos for the different pieces of egg equipment, the rentals that we have. So I think it's quite helpful to people that they've been well received by the couple of people that have been able to have it with the tutorials.
James?
So, Mr. Chair, I just one of the things I want to back up just a little bit about the bench fair and stuff. Where are we advertising it at?
It's in the county connections, and I think Nikki has plans for it to go on the website and the socials.
And are we sending the county connection to the doctor clinics? Okay.
We did discuss, especially with the pancake breakfast, I've had this discussion with Nikki about the signs, the portable signs on, you put them on the four ends of Stettler. The pancake breakfast, I think you'd really bring them in the, the bench show, anything like that. If we could get some advertising up, and because we get a lot of people that are traveling through this area on vacation and might want to stop and participate.
And is it at the Board of Trade setup?
I'm not sure, but I can check.
The town, this is the Ag Society, and I'm not sure, we should try and make sure that it get it out there. I think we have an opportunity here because this is this is a great initiative by these people. And I just want to make sure that it's as successful as it could be. I know like the heavy horse pull last year, I sent a few pictures to some friends and they knew nothing about it or they would have been there. So I think it's relatively new. So yeah, it takes a little time, but I think if anything we can do as council and as the county to help promote this, I think it's important to have that conversation and get it out there. So.
Justin?
I think it would also be wise to send out the flyer to all of our neighboring ASBs.
That's a great, yeah.
There's a lot of people, whether it be Painters or Camrose or Starland, that it is not that far of a drive for a day trip, but there's a lot of common interest there.
Yeah, one of the county fair board or like committee members, she's sent flyers out all over Timbuktu. She's got them in Rocky Mountain House. She has them all over. She's done like 4 or 5 day trips, putting them on all kinds of bulletin boards, but I can send them directly to the ASBs as well.
Your connection with Old McDonald's, maybe?
They will gladly.
Okay, just,
Yeah.
anything that we can do to help promote this, I think is a fair initiative. So.
Yeah, well, I think those are good ideas. And yeah, so Farah, you will get them to all ASBs.
Sorry to back you up, Mr. Chair.
No, that's fine. It's good discussion.
Yeah, and also the province has an agriculture newsletter, and anyone can put in their events. So I'll get it put on that events page as well.
Would we do any radio? Is there a radio advertising that's going in for this? Does anybody know?
I don't know, but I think we would probably hit the Stettler Independent along with I hate to say it, but social media seems to hit more people than radio does.
And the only reason I'm saying that is that listening to the radio, I know on a regular basis, Lacombe County and their hard comparison because their finances are a little different than ours, but they are advertising on there on a regular basis. They even have like counselors come on and do PSA, right? So just a thought.
Yeah, the cover of the County Connections this time is one of the horses that won a red ribbon last year. And just, I mean, gorgeous animal, just the caliber of horses that, that are on display here. I mean, anybody should come and see them. They're fantastic.
And they've really expanded their horse shows. Wow.
I really think though, part about the signs, and it might be a little bit of a hassle for people to change things on them, but get them out there earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of give a highlight of what's happening each day, right from Zeke's the bronc busting to what day the rodeos are, what day the pancake breakfast is. Then maybe the day before the pancake breakfast or whatever, have it pancake breakfast from such and such to such and such. Just because the people driving through town, that's what I've always said about it, is there's people driving through that we don't even realize it.
We have the lake up there that has, at any given weekend, 5 to 10,000 people that go up to that lake. A sign on the lake road going in might be advantageous just to get people's attention that there is more to the county of Stettler than that one Buffalo Lake. If it rains that weekend, everybody will want to be here.
So, right at Erskine might be a good spot for it.
Yeah, just some thoughts to try and promote.
Okay. Good, thank you. And now back to, Dave.
The flyer thing, I don't know. They should have review quit putting their paper in because they wouldn't put it in they were gonna charge them a whole bunch of money, so I don't know, you might have to pay for putting flyers in there now. I just check into it, that's all.
I don't think there's e-central review anymore. It's
There is. No, I know that. And that is why they quit. Because it was gonna cost them a pile of money to do it. They finally just quit. Yeah.
No, the paper itself doesn't
The
exist.
paper itself, that's why they quit it. Because they used to get it put in the boxes for nothing. And now they no, got it from the Run Reporter. That's why. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna charge them to put it in there, and it wasn't financially, wouldn't support itself.
Back to the equipment. And
Yeah, we've got little tutorials for how to use the equipment, and it's been very well received by people, and cuts down on some of the calls for us of what hole do I plug this thing into.
okay, yeah.
It makes it easier for the producer to use and easier on everyone else. So we put a lot of work into that, and we hope to get it for most of our equipment. Some of them are fairly
easier for yourself. Let me admit it, yes.
fairly self-explanatory, but
That's good.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
You got Mr.
Dave?
Do we send someone with the scale now? Nope, okay. But we repair it when it comes back.
they calibrated it at the end of April, and they said it was still in bang on, like they didn't have to adjust it.
Okay,
So
'cause I know it went out once and it got a little damage done to it.
yeah, like we really stress that
And
For a while then, we put somebody with it when it went out.
oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But now we don't. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, we stress that there's a pulley on it and that the pulley is stored loose when you're going in transport, and that helps lessen the damage to some of the scales.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Fair on this one? Not well.
Just a comment, I think it's great to put this stuff on here, but once again, if they read the sign, like that's that'll be the key thing.
Yeah, they're in the boxes with like the field sprayer. There's like a control panel box, and we've got our tutorial right in there.
A lot that, hopefully you get a lot of females.
I have pictures.
Same comment, Mr. Clark. Exactly. If we have ladies picking it up, you guarantee they're gonna read the instructions, men?
No. Well, if all else fails, read the instructions.
I broke it twice, now I'll read the instructions.
How are we supposed to do this, right?
Okay, motion to receive. Larry, all in favor? Carried. All opposed or favor?
I give it a short wave. It wasn't really.
Okay, yeah, I noticed it wasn't too much. Okay, moving into correspondence. As you can see, there's a ton of correspondence coming across Farah and Greg's desks. So they got a lot of stuff to sort through here. So we're not going to talk about every piece of correspondence, but we will bring out some pieces that Farah feels needs more attention. So we'll be talking about wild boar and camera anyway, so we'll leave those pieces to then. 10.5, we were going to touch on the insect. You have already done it. Touch that one. That Bertha armyworm is coming up later. 10.13, the agroclimate impact reporter.
Yeah, so there's the agroclimate impact reporter on page 162 of the package. It's a new program where kind of tied to resolution 125, which addressed some of the concerns for the weather monitoring stations that are used to inform some of the programs like agri-stability and your crop insurance and that kind of thing. So this is a producer survey that can go out over the last week of the month from April to October. And then in that, you're able to report your local moisture and crop conditions on that. So you can kind of better inform some of the surveys out there. And this is a federal site, so then that can be compiled to maybe make some better decisions for some of those programs.
Okay. 10.16, the watercraft inspection update.
Yeah, so they're really cracking down on the spread of aquatic invasive species. So the newest rollout, so last year we saw some of those fines increase. This year we're seeing that they've mandated that within the last 7 days, if you're coming into Alberta from the east or from the south, that you need to have proof of a watercraft inspection.
Just a question on that one. We did some inspections in the past at Buffalo Lake. Are we still continue to do that, or is this a?
There isn't a boat launch open at Buffalo.
There's still, however, there is still a number of sea-doos that are going in and out of the lake. So
If we
I'm not sure how they get in and get out, but yeah, just a thought.
There's mobile stations that come throughout the province, but I don't know exactly how they prioritize where.
I just saw that it's based out of Lethbridge South, so.
Yeah.
Justin.
Roshan's boat launch is open. It is being used. Some of the
The provincial park or the summer village?
Summer Village, some of the locals are taking extra precautions where they actually walk the boat out past the marina portion before they actually fire it up. But where, I guess it's rural ingenuity, where there's a will, there's a way.
There is
There-
one in the middle.
Yeah, once you get out, you're safe. But there is, I'm certain people that are using non-conventional boat launches as well. But in the last couple of weeks, there has been a bit of an uptick in the amount of boats on the lake. Where there's a will, there's a way.
So they're going through the riparian area on the Buffalo Lake South Shore.
I have,
He's doing this. Mr. Stevens is a good counselor doing this.
I don't know the exact locations that they're using, but the
Where did
boats
you
are,
put your boat?
my boat is still winterized in the shed.
And then 10.19, the Palliser Grazing Club on page 198. Now, this is one that we have supported financially. They're having a water systems tour on June 26th, so it'd be nice to share this information. So maybe some of our ratepayers are interested in this tour. So we can do social media, website, that sort of thing, share it. Okay.
10.
Ten
For information.
Well, we just got a couple more yet.
Oh, you were gonna do a whole
Next
bunch.
page.
Okay. And flipping the page, 1024, Health Canada, the drone.
So the use of drone spraying has been on the uptick, so Health Canada has sent out just a warning that legally, there's quite a bit of hoops you have to jump through to be able to do drone spraying. And there's only 2 types of products that are registered to be sprayed from a drone. And to do that, you need your drone license for the heavy drone. And the 2 products are for mosquito control and then kind of forestry woody plant control.
No.
Nobody else wanted anything further discussed in correspondence. Steve has a motion on the floor to receive. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving into finance, 11.1, a verbal update, financials. Greg, you getting this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as we are rolling through the season and we are nicely into June, all of our financials are meeting our checkpoints as we're going along. We have seen some increased, this spring we saw increased purchasing though of the road control. And that was supported by Farah's interest, finding out what is it that producers want to use the most and what is the most effective as well, so that as we roll into our next budget season, then what we can provide for information and product will be reflected next year. And also we are seeing some increased costs to our ag tank wells locations. We've had some wiring and some building maintenance and things like that that's pushed us a little over our budgeted amount. Not hard to do when we open up the door with budgeted amounts on those locations at around $1,000 or things like that. That gets you your electrician to the door. It doesn't really get you any materials or much time while he's there. So those will be things that we continue to monitor, and we'll incorporate that information into our report that we'll bring back to the Ag Service Board in regards to these locations and investment that's going to be required in future years if we wish to continue with them as a source for producers to utilize them. Just one quick note while we are talking about that. Discussions with ratepayers utilizing these sites, we are seeing somewhat of a monopolization of the sites, where as ratepayers or producers who have larger pieces of equipment to haul water seem to be pulling the water off, and then the next guy gets there and the light is on and there's no water as the well is replenishing the stock that's in that building. So those are things that we'll also include with our report back to ASB.
Justin?
We haven't had any issues of vandalism this year. That's been,
So far, the only thing we had for vandalism was the spray paint on the propane bottle beside the building. Otherwise, things have been all right.
That was a happy face, so that was.
Only nice side.
Not bad looking. That was had a hat on it and everybody. I could see what they were thinking.
Could be worse.
The rest of it was somewhat questionable, but
Oh, you didn't put that on. Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Continue.
our staff was able to get out there and put a nice fresh coat of paint on it and made it look good as new. So,
Okay, I did not see the second part. But further to Greg's discussion on the wells, I know with Bymore truck fill station being down twice in rapid succession in spraying time due to the Starland line break, the water well was being utilized pretty heavily as well.
yeah, and with that being said as well, support goes both ways. Other areas, I know I did speak to a couple of producers who immediately wanted to know who they talked to get a code for the truck fills, because they were willing to drive and fill up at a truck bill after they attended our egg wells and they were tap dry. So
That's right. Tanks are pretty large today, Larry.
Just a question on that. Should we possibly look at putting a timer or something on that smaller loads get hauled out? The bigger producers, we do have a tank, a truck fill.
we had those discussions. Randy Schmelnick, manager or director of utilities, and I had those discussions, and basically what we'd be looking at is putting the system in, because I mean, if you have a timer on it, you have someone who wants to haul out, they're gonna sit there if they want to continue to haul out for free and just keep hitting the button.
But if it's an hour timer, it's like any time is money too. So it would be, it's that whole thing that you keep drawing a well down like that, pretty soon we're either gonna draw sand in or we're gonna bugger the well up.
Absolutely. So those are, like I said, that's all information that we're putting into our report on those wells that we'll bring back to Ag Service Board and to council as well as we look at budgeting for future on those.
Any other financial questions for Greg on this report? If not, I'll ask for a motion to receive the financials for information. Paul?
I will do so.
All in favor? That one's carried. Moving into workshops, we already discussed the County Fair and Bench Show coming up July 29th and August 2nd. And I see we have a delegation here, so we will ask you to move to the podium. And while you're doing so, we will start with introductions of our own group, and we'll start with Greg.
Greg Jackson, Director of Operations.
Krista Schlender, Administrative Assistant.
Paul McKay, board member. Good day.
Dave Grover.
Larry Clark, board member.
Justin Stevens, good morning.
Les Stuber, ASB Chair.
James Nyberg.
Sarah Fisher, Assistant Manager of Ag Services.
Jared Kushner, Manager of IT.
Good, Cassie, see you.
Good morning. I'm Maureen Mappin-Smith. This is my daughter, Tulsa Smith, and we're going to be tag teaming for you today with regards to the Rising Stars Clinic that was held in Stettler in March. And we were very, very grateful for the county's support for this learning experience for youth in agriculture. The county provided the weigh scale as well as $1,000 sponsorship towards the expenses to put on this clinic. So in the end of March, March 28th and 29th to be exact, we had, let me just flip to the first slide, maybe, if I know what I'm doing, maybe. I don't know. There we go. Thank you. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing. We had 56 participants arrive from 3 provinces, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Nova Scotia, in order to take in this clinic and this learning opportunity. So what it is we bring Mr. Kirk Steerwalt, and don't get too crazy on me, up from the States to instruct the youth, and with him he has a team of people that are local. They're all from Alberta, and help him out to instruct the kids. And from here, I'm going to let Tulsa talk for a minute as to what they learn and what they're doing.
Is that not working?
Not really.
There you go.
So in the middle, there is Mr. Kirk Steerwalt, and on either side of him are the mentors, we call them. They're his team, and they help instruct us participants on everything. So some of the things that we did, he led live demonstrations on fitting, clipping, and other topics. And yeah, the topics included nutrition, daily care, judging, equipment care, judging and selection of animals, presentation and showmanship, and marketing. So this is a photo of a participant doing the hands-on learning afterwards. So basically you watch the demonstration and then you got to do it on your own calf afterwards.
So, and after the 2 days of learning, we have another 100 youth join us. Well, not quite 100, I guess it's 100 head of cattle, and 70 youth join us. and there's a little jackpot show that they put on. The county had asked us last year to include a marketing portion, and I just wanted to explain what the marketing portion was. It was a lot of fun for the kids. They got together in teams, and they had 15 minutes to put a sales pitch presentation together for all the major sponsors. I videoed the one that they did for the county, and do you think I can find it? I actually wanted to include it because it was hilarious. So what they had, they went on the internet and found out as much information as they can about each of the major sponsors, and then the kids put it together and did a little skit / presentation, and there was definitely some tears of laughter rolling down everyone's face after. But it was really good. It was very much an impromptu type situation for the kids and a great learning for them. And they also had to investigate about the sponsors. So that was really good, I thought. So we appreciate any input. We're there for the kids to learn. We're there for the kids to be excited about being part of the agriculture industry. I just included this little slide because a lot of people say to me, well, you know, you're teaching these kids to comb hair and you're teaching these kids to lead cows around, and really what does that have to do with real life? But in the big scheme of things, there's a lot of good lessons to be learned with this. Integrity, fairness, work ethic, lead with integrity, respect the hard work, whether it's your own or someone else's, respect the effort that goes into this way of life, stand tall with confidence, be proud of the path you've chosen and the dreams you're chasing, work until the job's done, finish what you start, and always give your best. Stay humble and true, talk less, show more. Your actions speak louder than words. Be kind but strong. Toughness isn't just about grit. It's about being fair and compassionate. Cherish your community. The show ring may be competitive, but it's the bond of our community that lifts us all up. We rise by lifting others. Embrace the journey, the work in the barn, the long hours, the early mornings. They're all part of growth. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn. Set your goals high and take pride in each step that brings you closer, whether it's in the barn or in life. Live with passion. Put your heart into every project, every animal, and every moment. The next slide also I thought is fascinating. Probably 85% of the participants that come to the clinic are in fact 4-H members, just hoping to hone their skills. And I thought this was a fascinating stat that 4-Hers are 2.3 times more likely to be physically active, 2 more times likely to plan to go to college, and 3.4 more times likely to contribute to their communities when compared with youth who do not participate. And I would venture to say that this isn't just 4-H. I would say that this is stock show kids as well. So with that, are there any questions for myself or Tulsa? We would be happy to entertain them. We do appreciate the county's support. We're happy that people from across our province and other provinces can come, enjoy the Ag Society, enjoy the great community welcoming that we all get. And yeah, thank you very much.
I'll start out for the couple. Our County of Stettler ASB board is incredibly proud to support this workshop. And after seeing what you do there, it makes us feel good that you're putting our money to very good use. And last year, this year you had 56 participants. Is that an increase over last year's numbers?
It is. We have 40 kids. It's kind of split into 2 groups, but really 56 kids are getting a full benefit. Just due to stalling room, we can only have 40 kids bring animals, but then we have 16 more kids on top of that that can come and watch and observe and then wander around and give a hand to the other kids when they're actually doing the hands-on stuff. So it's just tricky to get any more kids to do more than 40. Also, too, you saw our team of mentors, and we're trying to give as much one-on-one as we can. And it's kind of like herding cats sometimes when you get too many kids, too many cows, but yeah, it is up a little bit less. Yeah.
But I can see you need a limit because otherwise you would not get the benefit.
No, and that's feedback that we've had too. It's like, oh, geez, I wish it was a titch smaller, but we're trying to let as many kids as we can come and enjoy it and learn and go back and utilize those skills. So yeah.
Excellent presentation. James, you have a question?
Yeah, just a comment and then a question to Tulsa. The comment would be that it would be, one way that I would see this getting better is if we could have our urban kids get the experience with our rural kids. If you could partner with a school in the city and bring those kids out to spend time would be phenomenal. But for Tulsa, this is going to be a real tough one. What is the number one thing that you are going to take away from this event that you can say, you know what, I'm going to use that going forward?
I would say because I am already looking into a career in agriculture in later life, the nutrition workshop helped me a ton. I think, I learned a lot.
Very good. I was impressed with that answer. Any other board members have questions or comments for Tulsa or Maureen? So Tulsa, you're missing a day of school again. What grade are you in?
In grade 6.
Grade 6. Okay, cool.
She's happy in this.
Girl, I'm sure. So. Good. Well, thank you very much for bringing that presentation in. I hope you can stay and join us for lunch. And do we have another delegation? Are they here yet? Yeah. We do have a quick in-camera item. Do we want to? Okay. So if you guys would just mind waiting. Yeah, just hang out. We'll go our quick in-camera and we'll join you.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll give you a motion to go in camera.
Okay, thank you, James. All in favor? Carried. It's 11:48, all in favor? Carried. And you can invite them all back in. Is Maureen and Tulsa there yet, to Michelle? They can come in too again. Okay. Okay. Now we're back to our delegation again. The ASB bursary presentation. Rachel Deaver is our recipient, and we'll ask you to move forward to the podium. And as you do, we'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll give you a chance to introduce yourself as well. We'll start with Greg.
Rick Jackson, Director of Operations.
Krista Schlender, Administrative Assistant.
Randy Gender, good
Paul McCabe, board member.
morning. Larry Clark, board member.
Justin Stevens, good morning.
I'm Les Stulberg, ASB Board Chair.
James Nyberg.
Barry Fisher, Assistant Manager of Egg Services.
Jared Kushner, Manager of IT.
Okay, Rachel, you can introduce yourself, a bit about yourself. And
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Rachel Deaver. So a little bit about me, I guess, and how I came to where I am today. So I grew up doing horse 4-H here, played hockey, been here since 2003, I think. Anyways, grew up here. Horse 4-H. And then after high school, I went to the University of Alberta. I completed my Bachelor of Science in Animal Health, majoring in food animals. I completed that in 2022 throughout my undergrad. And before I got into vet school, I was fortunate enough to work at the Stettler veterinary clinic for a few summers and for a full year between my programs. And then in 2023 is when I got into vet school at the University of Calgary. So that's a 4-year program, and I'm part of the class of 2027. So I only have 2 years left, thank goodness, because it's been a long time, been a dream ever since I started 4-H. My interests are obviously horses and as well as cattle. So large animal is my prime focus, and hopefully one day I'll going to own my own practice, and I'm going to come back here is the plan so far, and that's a little bit about me.
it's very awesome. And it's so encouraging to hear that you're going into large animal veterinary. There's such a shortage everywhere. So that's really encouraging. And I understand there was a lot of applications this year and you were the successful one. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I think we're ready to present. We have a check for you.
Big check.
Vice Chairman Paul McKay and myself and Farrell will present.
You guys are gonna go back or be over behind the sign. That's typically where we take the pictures. So you get the sign picture.
I've been told that it is awful on YouTube when we do that.
Okay, fair enough.
So you can stand there and get better in there. And we need Paul. Well, flags should go.
The flags are.
This one might not go through the thing. And by all means, join us for lunch. We'll go right for lunch. Okay.
That was the final delegation for today and brings us to the end of our meeting. The next meeting should be August 20th. Does that sound right? I believe that's the third Wednesday
of August.
Okay. We need one final motion, adjournment. Justin, all in favor? Carried.